GTA 6 is hiding systems most players won't notice until they die because of one. NPCs that remember if you robbed them. Wanted levels that drop faster in the rain. Confirmed through trailers, the website, and the leaks, here are 30 mechanics that actually change how you play. 1. Dirty money versus clean money. In GTA 5, every dollar worked the same no matter where it came from. Rob a store or run a full heist, it all landed in the same bank account and spent the exact same way. In GTA 6, the leaked footage showed a washing machine icon with a $sign next to a purchasable car wash property. That's money laundering, plain and simple. Cash from crime is dirty, and it seems like you can't just spend it freely until it's been run through a legitimate business first. This alone changes how you're going to plan every single job in the game, because the payout isn't the end of the mission anymore. 2. The laundering loop. Once you know dirty money exists, the next mechanic makes sense. You commit crimes, earn dirty cash, then run it through a front like a car wash or a nightclub to turn it clean. That clean money is what actually buys property, cars, and upgrades. It's a full loop, not a one-time transaction, and it means your progress depends on managing two different types of income at once. Think about how that changes pacing. You're not just grinding missions for a number to go up, you're constantly balancing what you've stolen against what you've actually cleaned and can spend. And the bigger your empire gets, the faster you're probably able to launder, which means bigger crimes become worth it earlier than you'd expect, as long as you've built up the businesses to actually process that kind of money. 3. A heat meter on your businesses. GTA. Online tested this exact system with the Money Front's update in 2025. Every time you laundered cash through a business, a heat bar filled up by 10%. Fill it all the way and your business gets raided by police. The only fix was doing legitimate work missions to bring the heat back down. This is basically a preview of how businesses are going to function in GTA 6. You can't just spam the laundering option over and over. You have to actually split your time between the criminal side and the legal side, or you're going to lose the whole operation. That single mechanic being tested live in GTA Online months before GTA 6 even released is basically Rockstar showing their homework. And it's a pretty strong sign this system is locked in for the final game rather than just an experiment that gets thrown away. 4. Duffel bag. Loot limits. The leaked footage from 2022 showed duffel bag and loot bag categories in the inventory screen. That means there's a hard cap on how much cash and gear you can physically carry out of a job. No more walking out of a bank with an unlimited amount of cash stuffed in your pockets like GTA 5 let you do. This is a small change on paper, but it completely resets how heists are designed, because now the amount of money on the table actually matters based on how much space you're bringing to grab it. 5. Choosing loot over weapons. Since your carrying space is limited, you have to decide what matters more during a job. Stuff your bag with more cash, and you're carrying less firepower. Bring more weapons and ammo, and you leave money behind. That single trade-off didn't exist at all in GTA 5, and it turns every heist into an actual decision instead of just grabbing everything. You could even see this play out differently depending on your crew, since someone might specialize in carrying loot while someone else focuses purely on guns and covering the exit. 6. The witness description system. Red Dead Redemption. 2 let witnesses report crimes, but GTA 6 appears to take it further. If someone sees you commit a crime, they can give police your physical description, meaning the cops will actively search for someone who looks like you, not just a random wanted level that disappears in 30 seconds. Imagine robbing a store, changing your shirt 2 blocks away, and actually getting away clean because the description no longer matches what you're wearing. That's a completely different way of thinking about escaping the law. 7. Cops. Searching based on appearance building off the witness system, this means what you're wearing and how you look during a crime actually matters. Change your outfit, get a disguise, or lay low and you might avoid detection even with witnesses around. This turns your closet into an actual gameplay tool instead of just a fashion choice. You might even start planning outfits ahead of time for specific jobs, almost like a heist crew planning their disguises before walking into a bank. 8. Robbery timers. Leaked gameplay showed a visible timer during store robberies, meaning you're on the clock the moment you pull a weapon on a cashier. This makes small crimes feel tense again instead of the same repetitive, risk-free action they were in GTA 5, where you could rob a store as slowly as you wanted while the cashier just stood there. With a timer running, you're forced to make quick decisions, grab what you can, and get out before the situation turns against you. It also probably means upgrades matter here too, since better tools or more experience could shave time off these small jobs, turning something as simple as a corner store robbery into its own tiny skill-based challenge instead of a scripted animation you sit through every time. 9. A 3-tier economy. Everything points to street crime, organized crime, and legitimate business all working as separate stages of progress. Street-level stuff like robbing stores and stealing cars gets you started. Organized crime like bank heists and drug running gets you real money. Legitimate businesses turn that money into a lasting empire. You can't skip stages, each one feeds the next, and each one probably unlocks access to the next tier once you've built up enough trust, cash, or reputation in the one before it. 10. Front businesses. As cover Booby Ike's character description says, he turned his time in the streets into a legitimate empire covering real estate, a strip club, and a recording studio. That's basically a walking example of the front business mechanic, legal ventures that double as cover, and laundering tools for illegal income. His character is honestly a blueprint for what your own progression is probably supposed to look like by the end of the story, moving from small-time crime into an actual business network. 11. The weight system returns. Just like in San Andreas, characters can apparently get bigger or leaner based on how they live. In one shot, Jason is shown bench pressing over 100 kilos on Ocean Beach, and other NPCs range from lean and fit to noticeably heavier body types. This system disappeared for GTA 5 and 4, and it looks like it's fully back. If it ties into actual stats like stamina or strength the way it did in San Andreas, that opens up a whole layer of character building that hasn't existed in the series for a long time. It could even tie into how NPCs perceive you during missions, since a jacked character walking into a bar full of tough guys probably gets treated differently than someone who looks like they've never lifted anything heavier than a beer. 12. Interior AI generating real spaces. Rockstar has a patent for generating building interiors instead of hand building every single one. That's likely why so many windows in the trailer show actual furniture and rooms behind the glass instead of a flat texture. This tech is probably why the game can support over 700 enterable interiors without a stretched development timeline. It also means the world could feel a lot less repetitive, since interiors won't just be a handful of templates copied across every building on the map. 13. Dynamic world events. In GTA 5, an NPC breaking the law usually just got shot on sight by police. In the new trailer, a scene shows cops actually performing a real arrest instead of instantly resorting to violence. Little moments like this suggest the world reacts to crime with more variety, not just one canned animation repeated everywhere. It makes the city feel like it's actually functioning around you instead of existing purely as a backdrop for your own missions. You could be walking to a completely unrelated job and stumble into a scene like this happening on its own, which means the streets are going to feel like they have their own schedule running whether you're paying attention or not. 14. Phone camera and video recording. There's a scene where Daquan shows Jason a video on his phone and another shot of someone filming with their phone during a car scene. This strongly suggests players can record their own clips in-game using a phone, similar to the Snapmatic-style features from GTA 5, but built directly into missions and world interactions this time. It could even tie into social media-style content creation within the game itself, considering how much of the marketing already leans into influencer culture with characters like Real Dimes. 15. The ankle monitor. When Lucia gets out of prison, she's wearing an ankle monitor that was shown earlier in promotional art. This isn't just a costume detail, it likely ties into a tracking mechanic where her movement or actions are restricted or monitored during a specific part of the story, adding real stakes to how she plays during that section. You could imagine missions where staying within a certain area or avoiding detection from that monitor becomes an actual objective instead of just background story. 16. A full prison segment. A background screenshot shows Lucia in prison with other inmates visible around her, suggesting there's an actual playable prison portion of the story instead of just a cutscene explaining how she got locked up. If that's true, this would be the first time a GTA protagonist's prison time is something you actually play through, rather than skipping straight to the moment they walk out the front gate like every other game in the series has done before. 17. Community service missions. Lucia is shown doing community service while wearing a hat from Brian's marina business. That's a mechanic tying legal punishment directly into the world's characters and locations, meaning even consequences for getting caught turn into a way to meet people and build connections in the story. Instead of community service being a throwaway detail, it looks like Rockstar is using it to naturally link Lucia's storyline to Brian and everything happening in the Keys. 18. A pet system. Jason and Lucia are shown with a pet snake in one of the apartment scenes. Whether this expands into a broader pet system is still unknown, but having an actual living animal tied to your home base is new territory for the series and hints at more life sim elements than GTA 5 ever had. It's a small detail, but little touches like this usually mean there's more going on behind the scenes that just hasn't been shown yet. 19. Animal behavior. AI beyond pets, the world is full of animals acting completely on their own. An iguana walks under Jason's porch, a raccoon digs through a trash can, ducks swim in the water, and a cat cleans itself on top of an ATM. None of these animals are just decoration. They're all behaving independently in the background of scenes that have nothing to do with them. This kind of ambient life is exactly what makes a world feel real instead of staged, since none of these moments were built to be the focus of the shot. 20. Dense fog. As a weather type. During the plane wing fight scene, buildings in the distance are barely visible through what looks like thick fog rather than clouds. Weather in GTA 5 was mostly rain, sun, and the occasional storm. Fog this heavy would be a completely new addition that changes visibility and atmosphere in a way the series hasn't done before. Combine that with Florida-style humidity and storms, and the weather system alone could end up being one of the most noticeable upgrades in the whole game. Picture driving through the Everglades at night with fog rolling across the road, barely able to see past your headlights while something is chasing you down. That's a completely different kind of tension than anything the sunny, clear skies of Los Santos ever offered. 21. Ray tracing. Reacting to everything. The lighting in this game isn't just for show, it's reactive down to insane detail. Light bends through beer bottles, reflections shift depending on where you're standing, and shadows move naturally with every object on screen. This level of lighting accuracy affects gameplay too, since visibility, stealth, and how the world reads to your eyes are all tied into it. Sneaking around at night or hiding from a spotlight during a police chase is going to feel completely different when the lighting is actually simulating real physics instead of faking it. Even something as small as standing near a neon sign in Vice City could end up giving away your position if the color of the light is actually bouncing off you the way it would in real life. 22. Vehicle weight, affecting combat. During the explosion scene, a light SUV goes flying while a heavier riot van barely moves. That's not just a visual flex, that's a mechanic. Combat involving explosives, ramming, or vehicle-based fights is going to depend on the actual weight class of what you're driving or standing near, not just a generic explosion radius like GTA 5 used. That means picking the right vehicle for a job isn't just about speed anymore, it's also about how much punishment that vehicle can actually take or dish out. 23. Full-body drive-bys. Jason doesn't just stick an arm out the window to shoot anymore. His whole upper body leans out during a drive-by. This was hinted at in the 2022 leaks too, and seeing it confirmed in trailer footage means drive-by shootings are getting a full animation overhaul instead of the stiff, robotic version from older games. It also probably means drive-bys come with more risk this time, since leaning that far out of a moving car likely leaves you far more exposed to return fire than the old system ever did. 24. NPCs can hop on cars to shoot. In one of the chase scenes, an NPC is shown climbing onto the window of a moving car to fire a rifle, meaning this mechanic isn't something only the player can do. Enemies and allies using the same advanced movement options as you makes every gunfight less predictable. since the AI can pull off the same moves you can. That's a big shift from GTA 5, where enemy AI mostly just stood behind cover and shot in your general direction without doing anything creative. 25. Jumping between moving vehicles. Jason is shown leaping from one moving vehicle to another during a chase. This is an upgraded version of a mechanic Red Dead Redemption 2 introduced with horses, except now it's built around cars, trucks, and bikes. Escaping a vehicle before it crashes or switching rides mid-pursuit becomes a real strategy instead of just holding down the gas. You can already imagine chase missions built entirely around ditching one car for another while the cops are still right behind you. 26. Fully detailed vehicle interiors. There's a fight happening inside the wheel compartment of an airliner in one trailer scene, which means Rockstar modeled a space most players would never even think to look inside. If they're building out details this specific, expect way more interactive and detailed spaces inside planes, boats, and cars across the whole game. That level of commitment to a space most players will glance at for 2 seconds says a lot about how far this attention to detail probably goes everywhere else too. 27. A turf-based gang system. Multiple gangs are shown throughout the trailers and screenshots, from the Final Chapter Motorcycle Club in Ambrosia to Sun for Sun near Little Haiti to a possible militia group out in Grass Rivers. Different groups controlling different areas strongly suggests a turf system where your reputation and actions in one location affect your standing with the gang that runs it. Walking into the wrong neighborhood with the wrong reputation could end up mattering a lot more than it ever did in GTA 5. It also opens the door for actual turf wars, where taking territory from one gang might mean dealing with retaliation later instead of every gang just existing as a background aesthetic with no real memory of what you've done to them. 28. Prison gangs. That same prison screenshot showing Lucia also shows other inmates in the background who look like they belong to their own group inside the walls. If GTA 6 really does include a playable prison segment, having a separate gang dynamic just for that environment would make it feel like its own contained world instead of a quick cutscene detour, complete with its own rules, its own hierarchy, and its own risks completely separate from anything happening outside those walls. 29. Crew-based heist recruiting. Raul Bautista's official description calls him a bank robber who is always looking for talent willing to take big risks. That phrasing suggests a recruiting mechanic where you build a crew for heists based on skill sets, similar to how GTA 5 lets you pick different crew members with different specialties for the same job. Depending on who you bring, a heist could play out completely differently, whether you're going for speed, stealth, or just raw firepower to shoot your way out. And since GTA 5 already showed that crew choices affected payout percentages and mission approach, GTA 6, taking this further with more specific specialists means replaying the same heist with a different crew could feel like an almost completely new mission each time. 30. The trust mechanic between Jason and Lucia. Throughout both trailers, dialogue keeps circling. Back to trust between the two leads. Lines like, "we got this" and "we got it" aren't just flavor text. They line up with Rockstar's own description of the story being about two people forced to rely on each other. That kind of repeated narrative focus usually means trust affects actual gameplay outcomes, not just how a scene plays out, whether that's how missions unfold, how the ending shifts, or how the two characters react to each other during high-pressure moments. Let me know which mechanic you're most hyped about in the comments, and subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this before GTA 6 launches.